Today we are pulling back the curtain, so to speak. I'm going to give you a look under the hood at exactly how I design off-ice goalie training programs that help you win more games with fewer injuries. Let's go. I know I spend a lot of time taking you through the how. Here's how we get faster, here's the exercises to do, here's what to do. I don't spend a lot of time walking you through the why and the philosophy, and I really wanted to take some time today to do that because I think especially now, with social media and YouTube, there's so much information available.
Welcome to the internet.
That sometimes it's like, is this good information? Is this information that's coming from a solid foundation and a system and a philosophy of development? Or is this just, hey, I thought this would look cool and it's really hard and so you should do it too? So I wanted to walk you through, and I'm not saying this is the only way to develop goaltenders. I'm sure that other strength and conditioning coaches have different opinions, different philosophies, and still get really great results. But I do want to emphasize that this is based on more than 25 years of experience of refining and improving these systems over time. It isn't just, hey, this is what I did and it's really good, or this is what the football players do and so I'm going to give it to you as well.
That'll work.
So we have it set up kind of like a triangle. I think of you guys as a triangle. And this is how it goes in the game-winning goalie formula. This is kind of the foundation of it all. So at the base of the triangle or the pyramid is unlocking your mobility, because if you can't move the way a goalie needs to move, then you cannot play the way a goalie needs to play. So if you don't have great mobility, and that doesn't mean that you can do the splits or it's a lot deeper than that. So I think of the unlocking mobility as a keystone. This is a keystone of the philosophy. And then these are the pillars of this keystone. So the first one is flexibility, which you might be a little surprised to hear me talking about just pure flexibility, because I'm always talking to you about mobility, which is flexibility plus control. But flexibility in itself is important. Can I move that joint through its physiological, anatomical, normal range of motion? I can, great, let's go. Next step. I can't, then that's suggesting there's some kind of dysfunction. So for example, when a goalie does the 14-day butterfly challenge, and when they measure before and after, and they actually follow the steps and they use the right technique and they follow the guidelines, if they get to the end of that program and they say, my butterfly didn't get any wider, well, either they've been diligently working on their mobility for years and that they're just at their physiological limit, or there's some sort of dysfunction. Usually it's the latter. So that's always the question. Hey, unless you've been really following a good mobility program for the last several years, my suggestion is that you go get this checked out, because it could be some sort of dysfunction, which could be a congenital, just the way my hips are developed from when you were born, or it could be something else going on, a restricted capsule that needs some manual therapy, that kind of thing. So we start with flexibility. Then we move on to stability. And so this is where we start to get this combination that builds our mobility. So do I have control through this range of motion? Do I have strength at length? That's one of the first things that we work on. But even strength in a shortened position. When you're in your half butterfly and you're sliding across the crease, and you got your lead pad is flat and you're trying to make a blocking move as you slide across the crease, and if that pad is folding in as you push across, it sort of folds in behind you. I think you know what I'm describing. That's a weakness in a shortened position. So it isn't just, yes, strength at length is important. It's a really neglected part of your traditional mobility training or flexibility training. But we also need to be strong in the shortened positions too, for exactly that reason. So that's when we build in that stability. And then the final piece, or the final pillar of this keystone, is control. I was talking to Mitch Korn at the beginning of this off season. He was saying, a goalie of his that I work with, he says, I want him to be a contortionist, and so I thought of okay, this is your contortion control. And I love that expression, because goalies do need to be contortionists, and you get in all these awkward positions, and then you need to be able to recover and get compact and get set for the next shot. And I love that expression, because goalies do need to be contortionists, because you need to, be in some very awkward positions to make a save, but then get back, be ready, be neutral for the next shot or your next movement in the crease.
Watch this stop by Hashi.
That's where this comes in. It sort of takes, okay, well, we've got you moving, you've got this strength, but now we're going to put it all together. It's like, okay, well, you know how to play notes on the guitar, now you know how to play some scales, but now let's play some rock and roll. Let's go on to keystone number 2. The second keystone of this philosophy, this development philosophy, and again, this is a sort of a simplified version. Maybe it doesn't look simplified, but the second keystone is what I just call goalie fitness. So that includes functional strength, speed and agility, and goalie stamina, but all in a way that a goalie needs it. And I'll try to explain too, like, where there's crossover, because it isn't all, standing on a stability ball, juggling hockey pucks. That's not what we're talking about. But it's everything we need so that when you are on the ice, you have exactly what you need to do your job. Or when you're training with your goalie coach, you have the tools to do what your goalie coach is trying to teach you to do so that you can stop more pucks. So it all starts with functional strength. And this doesn't mean just using light weights for high repetition. It doesn't mean only using bands. It doesn't mean only doing body weight exercises. It doesn't mean just doing yoga or whatever. Some of this is picking up heavy stuff. So it's okay to be strong as a goalie. You need to be very strong. And at some points, we need to do heavy squats. We need to do heavy deadlifts. We do them in a little different way so that we're not just crushing our spines and hips, but we do need that. But we also need those stabilizers to be very strong and to be smart and to have stamina. I shouldn't say very strong. We need them to be strong enough, very smart, and have sufficient stamina to support what those big muscles are doing and how even the big muscles are working from awkward positions. We need to teach you to do all of that while stabilizing your torso, while being able to have your hands available to make saves, not, trying to generate momentum using your arms. So that's where functional strength comes into it. And in the game-winning goalie formula, because everybody's needs are different, we have different streams, so then you can fine-tune this for exactly what you need based on your training age, the level you're playing at, or where you're aspiring to play. Are you an adult goalie? All of those things go into finding the right functional strength program for you, for where you're at right now. We build this up because it's the foundation for your speed and agility training. So while you're building this, we're teaching you the foundations of speed and agility. When I say we, I mean me. And I learned this from a track and field coach, a very successful track and field coach by the name of Lorna Seagrave. And he's the guy who taught me all about speed mechanics, max velocity mechanics, change of direction mechanics many, many years ago. But one of the things he says is we teach speed, and that is the truth. So we take these tools, we take your mobility, we take your functional strength, and then we teach you to apply the right amount of force in the right direction as efficiently as possible and as explosively as possible. And that's what makes us fast and agile. Goalies in the game-winning goalie formula, or when goalies, come to want to work with me, that's the thing. They'll say, oh, I'm pretty good at making the first save, but if I'm moving one way and I have to change direction, I get behind the play. Or if I make a save and then have to make a big movement to make the second save, then I get behind it. And that's exactly that. You're lacking the agility in that case. Also think of speed and agility as teaching movement efficiency. When you get your cell phone bill and you look at it and there's like a tax, some random fee or tax that's like $13 a month, you're like, Like, that's weird. But when you think of $13 a month, maybe, I mean, I think that's a lot of money. But if it doesn't seem like that much money, you know, for 1 month at a time, if you look at that over the course of a year, that's going to be 13 times $12. That's a lot of money over the course. And the same thing with your movement pattern. So, you know, if I want to move this way and I start with a little, you know, I kind of preload that way. Well, if I arrive to where the puck is a quarter of a second late, then it's very consequential because it results in a goal against. But even if I still get there, I've used energy to do that. I call it an energy leak. So if we add up all those little energy leaks over the course of a game, that's a lot of just wasted energy that I could keep, fuel that I could keep in the tank to have better performance late in the game. So speed and agility we build up there. And then nothing else matters if you run out of gas 1.5 periods through the game. So we need this goalie stamina. I was talking to a goalie earlier in the summer and they said, no, I'm fit. You know, I'm really fit. I go swimming all the time. I swim for an hour, you know, whatever, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, but that's not goalie fitness. Like that's like my mom or dad fitness, you know. Goalie fitness or goalie stamina is being able to stop, start, change direction, hold a static hold. You know, you're on your post, the play's in the corner, you're stuck there. It's being able to perform with high quality, high speed, even when maybe you're on a 5-minute major and your team like cannot clear the puck. Like they have the puck, there's a clear shot down the ice, and for whatever reason they decide not to do that, you know, and they can't clear it, so that you can keep playing at a high level. And I'm not saying your legs won't burn. Some people say, my legs still get tired. Yes, everyone's legs will be tired after a hard game. If we talk to Usain Bolt after an 800-meter race, his legs are going to be tired because that's how your body works. You can't go at top intensity and not be tired, but with the right stamina training, you can go at top intensity, be tired, and still perform effectively. So the type of goalie stamina we train, we do some category 2 work, which is what helps develop mitochondrial density, capillary density, lays a really good foundation for your aerobic training system, which is what helps you recover in between those intense bouts. As a goalie, you're a repeat sprinter. But when we do our repeat sprint training, it doesn't mean going to the track and doing repeated sprints. It means doing movement patterns, tempos, isometric holds, similar to what you would need on the ice. We're not smashing into a butterfly and creating a bunch of wear and tear, but we are working you in a stop, start, repeat sprinter style with lots of frontal plane movement and some vertical movement as well. So that is how we make you nice and strong from start to finish, even though, yes, you will get tired. And now we're getting into our third keystone, which I just bundle under what's called pro habit. These are sort of the other things that we can look after that are going to help set us up for success in our training and set us up for success on the ice. So one is starting with mindset, and I almost think of time management falling under this umbrella as well. It's just having the mindset to control what you can control, help you deal with things when they're not going well, because that's a part of life too, whether it's in hockey or school or work or family relationships. It's a part of life. So learning some ways that you can help control that, learning how when a game is getting a little bit out of hand, how you can avoid going down that slippery slope of negative self-chatter and just completely unraveling. So we work on mindset both on the ice and away from the ice. Work on nutrition and recovery. You can't, you know the saying, you can't make chicken salad out of you know what. So if we're trying to be the best goalie we can be, if we're investing our time and energy into improving our mobility, building our goalie fitness, but then we're not eating proper nutrition, we're not getting sufficient rest and recovery, we're not going to see those gains. So we're sort of sabotaging our success that way. So we look at things like in the game winning goalie formula, there's a coaching group, and so I'm available in that all the time, but people upload a 3-day nutrition recall, so I can go through it and tell them exactly, hey, this is really, really great, let's have less of that, more of this. We come up with just one strategy that we're going to change, and then once we've made that change, we can do it again and look at the next change. Looking at recovery strategies. So again, in the game winning goalie formula, we have a post-skate restorative module. We have a pre-skate warm-up, but we also have a post-skate restorative. So we use that every time the goalies come off the ice, especially if they're at a training camp, something like that. It's a game changer because they feel just as good the third day or fourth day of camp as they did the first day of camp. Talk about supplement. This is where we'd have a conversation about supplements based on your training status, your consistency with your training, and what it is that you need, if it's anything at all. And the final one is tactics. And this isn't my area of expertise. You know that I'm not an on-ice goalie coach, not trying to be an on-ice goalie coach. But I have a lot of friends who are really good on-ice goalie coaches. So I lean on them, and they've done some lessons and modules for us in that I can pull from and share with the goalies in the program on, so Tomas Magnuson came on to talk about the 3 phases of the save. Josh Robinson came on to help us with some puck handling. Michael Lawrence was on to talk about having quiet feet. Brian DeCord actually did a great one when he talked about a few different things, but the one that sticks out in my head is how to approach coaches if you want to get sort of scouted for a college or a junior team, but you're maybe not a blue chip prospect, and so what's the best way to approach a coach? Do I send them a highlight reel video, or how does that work? He's done it all. So he knows, and he laid out here's exactly how you do it to get noticed, but without being a pest. So really valuable stuff in there. And then one of the things I'm working on now too is helping create those streams so that okay, these are the lessons that I need to start with, and these are the pro habits that I want to try to develop first for where I'm at. So there is your little behind the scenes look at how I go about developing goalies who win more games with fewer injuries. And then it's a matter of, for each of these elements, knowing, okay, when do we focus on this area? Everything is going on at the same time. So there's never a time when it's just, we're just doing mobility now. And now we're just doing strength. There's always an overlap, but it's knowing when should mobility be our emphasis? When should unlocking mobility be an emphasis? When should goalie fitness be an emphasis? When we're in season, how does that goalie fitness change? How do we go after it? Because it's very different from what we do in the off season. And then again, each one of these stages, it depends who you are, where you're at, and where you're trying to get to, what you should be working on. And that's why it's nice in a program like the Game Winning Goalie Formula that there are different streams that you can follow that are going to be right for you. And then, of course, I'm always there to help along the way. So I hope this helps you understand. Maybe if you look at your current program, do a checklist and see where you're at, and, maybe have a little conversation with your strength coach if you think something's missing. If you want me to just do it all for you, then click the link in the description to see how we can work together and how it all goes. I'd be happy to have that chat with you. That's the first step. We get on the Zoom and have a chat about it. Thanks so much. I appreciate you. If you have any questions, drop them below. I know a lot of you are really interested in sort of the exercise physiology part of it, the program design part of it. So feel free to drop a question. I answer each and every one of them. Until next time, now's the time to hit it with a like. Don't forget to check out that link in the description. I will catch you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Love you guys.